So, talk about the Bohemian Club. What is that for people out there who don't know about this, what some would say secret society?
Well, in 1878, a group of artists and newspaper reporters in San Francisco set up a retreat about 60 miles north of San Francisco, outside the tiny mining town of Monterey. But by the turn of the century, U.S. presidents were traveling there once a year to take part in the revelry. And it began to get more and more occultic by the 20s and 30s. And we know this from some of the internal annals of the Bohemian Club that we've gotten a hold of from some of the California universities that have been the official archivist of the Bohemian Grove. And so there was a lot of occultic rituals, Masonic rituals, and things that go on there, but none of it had ever been caught on video. And on July 15th, 2000, July 15th is always when they kick off the Bohemian Grove. It had been rumored that they engaged in this strange ritual where they burnt the effigy of a child before this 45-foot stone idol that looks like a bull or a horned owl. And so I snuck into the Bohemian Grove with a hidden camera and shot the first and only footage of the actual ritual taking place. And the old men in the audience, they're on the side of the little pond, across the pond watching the mock human sacrifice take place. They were taking the ritual very, very serious. And so that's one reason the Bohemian Grove is so important. Another reason is it's really an extension of Skull and Bones that the Bushes attend at Yale, which also, it's been confirmed, does bizarre Luciferian or occultic kind of druidic rituals. And there's 2,000 members to the Bohemian Grove every year. World leaders, British prime ministers, German chancellors travel there. The Duke of Edinburgh has been there. Prince Charles has been there, along with many other people. And a lot of big decisions, political decisions, the Grove has bragged, get made in the Chalet. And that's a meeting house that holds several hundred people there in the 2,700-acre Redwood Grove Preserve. And it's predominantly conservatives and Christian leaders that go there. There are some, quote, liberals that go there. And that's another thing that's so strange about it, is that Vanity Fair snuck in but got caught, and their reporter was arrested last year. People magazine had their reporter arrested back in the 1980s. Many others have tried to sneak in and have failed. I'm the only person to ever successfully sneak in and get out with footage without being arrested and prosecuted. And when I was in there, I did see some homosexual activity, but no intercourse. And I was trying to stay away from the crowds and hide out till nighttime. I was only inside about 5 hours on the date of one of the rituals. There's other reported rituals that go on there. But Vanity Fair did witness homosexual activity, and some other newspaper reporters that have made it in and been arrested also have witnessed it. And so there's a lot of homosexual orgies that go on there. And you've got not just myself saying this. In an interview with Harper's Magazine, Richard Nixon said that homosexual orgies go on there. And then after his death, Harper's actually released the recorded interview with Richard Nixon. I mean, he did this on record. It's just Harper's had never released the audio. But Richard Nixon was an attendee, and he was photographed with Ronald Reagan and President Dwight D. Eisenhower there at the same table back in the 1960s, even before he became California governor. So it is a very bizarre place where the elite of the United States and of the Fortune 100 go and engage in bizarre homosexual orgies and druidic rituals. And former German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt, in his book Men and Powers, a political retrospective, bragged about how they are the New World Order. They're setting up the global government. They are bringing in this world government. And he said they have their own groves in Germany where they do rituals, but his favorite place to do rituals is the Bohemian Grove. So that's a book published by the former German Chancellor.
So besides all of this that you just told me, which is shocking in and of itself, what did they go there generally to discuss? I mean, what kind of conversation can we expect at one of these meetings, one of these encampments?
Well, the Grove was very, very secretive until I was able to infiltrate and basically expose one of their rituals. And since then, they've been kind of putting out their own PR, just like the CFR and Bilderberg group, some of the political arms of the Bohemian Grove have been doing lately. And they brag that they launched the Star Wars program, or SDI, at the Grove, that Reagan made the decision to go public with that program at the Grove, that the Manhattan Project was launched secretly from the Bohemian Grove, and that they decided to run the operation out of Los Alamos from there, and that the lakeside chats are where a lot of very high-level announcements are made to the rest of the Western elite. And so a lot of big decisions are made there. In fact, I have a Detroit Free Press article from the 1950s at the height of the Cold War, where the Russian foreign minister traveled to the U.S., and he didn't go to D.C. He went to meet with the real elite in some type of internal détente at the Bohemian Grove. And you can pull that article up. So this is where the elite of the planet travel to have high-level decisions, and there's probably nowhere other than Bilderberg where this many high-level decisions are made. This is a major conference that goes on from mid-July to the first week of August, and it is revelry, drunkenness. It's all male, so they bring the male prostitutes in. They do have female prostitutes in the town of Monterrey. They fill several hotels with high-dollar prostitutes. Mainstream news has even videoed the jets lined up disgorging the male and female prostitutes, the $2,000 an hour type, to service the elite. So it's a 2 weeks of debauchery, sex, orgies, druidic rituals, and world decisions being made. It's important because a lot of up-and-coming leaders are brought there to compromise themselves. They have to join the club, and so they, just like Skull and Bones, they compromise themselves in a lot of bizarre activities to become made members of this Western power elite. It's important because it shows that the Western elite of the planet are just as decadent and insane and crazy and bizarre as Nero or Caligula in the last years of Rome. If you want to catch on video who is attending, you need to go to the airport in Santa Rosa, a nearby major city, and scores of private jets land, and the heads of IBM and the heads of Hewlett-Packard and David Rockefeller and George Bush Sr., Newt Gingrich, George W. Bush, Jeb Bush, Prince Charles has been photographed, Ben Bernanke's been photographed, former Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan's been photographed. Basically, the heads of the Fortune 100 are there. And then you've got the heads of academia, the heads of banking, and generally the heads of the House, the Senate, and the executive. In fact, here are some of the annals of the Bohemian Grove. This is the annals from 1987 to 1996. And you can see a photo there of the ritual being carried out where they're burning the effigy of a child. And also in here, there are photographs of Bush Sr. and George W. Bush, his son, speaking from the podium. Here's Walter Cronkite, Richard Nixon together. In fact, here's Richard Nixon giving a lakeside chat right there.